Nancy Drew, Mystery of the 6½ Keys. Chapter 4. 10 minutes later, Nancy finally finished finding Patricia's 3 missing items. It had taken Nancy way too long to realize the recipe book was on the low wall near the mystery section of the library. Why wasn't it in the cooking section? "I got your stuff," Nancy said. "Can I have my coffee now?" "No, first you must learn how to brew the perfect cup of coffee," Patricia said. "You want to learn about the local culture here in Prague, no? This will help you." "Unless someone stole Adela's necklace in order to buy coffee, I'm pretty sure this won't help," Nancy muttered. She took several steps backwards, then did a running jump over the counter. Nancy thought it was pretty impressive looking, even if she broke 3 coffee mugs in the process. Patricia showed Nancy to the espresso machine. "You take the customer's order here," she said. "I want a sweet sunrise," the customer said. "That has twice the espresso as the Cafe Americano, plus the amount of milk in the Cafe con leche divided by the scoops of vanilla in an hour late," Patricia said. "I do not understand a single thing you just said," Nancy said. "It's simple. Put the cup in the coffee maker and press the button with 2 beans," Patricia said. "That's because this order has 2 shots of espresso. Understand?" "I guess," Nancy said. She put down the cup under the middle faucet and pressed the button. "No, that's the water faucet!" Patricia cried. Espresso started pouring out of the right faucet, nowhere near the cup. "A water faucet? Shouldn't that be in the sink?" Nancy asked. "Don't tell me the coffee in this cafe is watered down." "The machine dispenses hot water in addition to coffee," Patricia explained. "Then what's this button do?" Nancy asked. Suddenly the metallic rod started shooting out hot milk. "That's the milk dispenser," Patricia said. "You're getting it all over the floor." "This thing makes water, milk, and beans?" Nancy asked. "Yeesh, sounds like it makes everything besides coffee." "Espresso is coffee," Patricia said. "No way. I thought it was just a type of coffee," Nancy said. Is this a bad time?" the customer asked. "Don't worry, I'll get your coffee done as soon as I figure out this screwy machine," Nancy promised. "Hey, you wouldn't happen to want a cup of milk instead of coffee, would you?" "Allow me," Patricia said, stepping in with a fresh cup. She quickly put in 2 shots of espresso, vanilla, and sugar. "You," she said, pointing at Nancy, "since you're so good with hot milk, you get to make latte art." "But the guy didn't order a latte," Nancy said. "It's simple," Patricia said. "See the fun designs here? You need to pour the milk on top of the coffee to make those designs." "I totally got this," Nancy said. She picked a cute little cat and started pouring. "You went outside the line," Patricia said immediately. "Crap," Nancy said. She scooped out half the coffee, then tried again. "The whiskers are too tiny," Patricia said. Try again," Nancy said. She scooped out half the coffee, then tried pouring as slowly as possible. "Could you please hurry it up?" the customer asked. "Dang it, you made me mess up," Nancy said as she accidentally dumped a huge blob onto the cat's eye. She scooped out half the coffee, then tried again. "That's the 3rd time you've thrown out the coffee," the customer complained. "My drink now has more milk than coffee." "Stop trying to ruin my artistic vision," Nancy cried. She made a frowny face with the creamy milk. "See? That's what you look like." The man left without paying for his coffee. "Wow, that guy was a jerk," Nancy said. "Next!" "That's okay," Patricia said. "I think you've made enough coffee today." "But I only made the 1 coffee," Nancy said. "And it was wonderful," Patricia said. "As a reward for your excellent coffee-making skills, here is a snow globe." "A snow globe? I wanted coffee," Nancy complained. Then she shrugged. She could always give the snow globe to Ned and pretend she bought it for him on purpose. It did look kind of expensive. "This is a totally normal snow globe, right?" Nancy asked. "As far as I know," Patricia said. Good, because how weird would it be if the snow globe ended up being a secret key that unlocks a hidden underground laboratory or something? Nancy asked. You have a very active imagination, Patricia said. It's what makes me a great detective, Nancy said proudly. Chapter 5. Nancy only spilled a little bit of coffee on her shirt as she took a big gulp of her Americano with 3 cinnamon sticks and 10 sugars. Okay, now I'm ready to start investigating, she said. I'm going to start with eeny, meeny, miny, Oskar. Fortunately, Adela had texted Nancy that morning with everyone's contact information. Nancy called Oskar. Oskar Dvorak, who's calling? This is an American number. Yes, but I'm in Prague, Nancy said. I'm Nancy Drew, world-famous detective and classy dresser. I'm investigating the theft of Adela Cherna's necklace. I know Adela, Oskar said. How can I help? I understand that the museum was robbed in the past, Nancy said. Maybe the jewel thieves have returned to plague the town once more. That happens all the time in monster movie sequels. That was 20 years ago, Oskar said. I know a lot of video games that came out 20 years ago, which I would love to see remastered, Nancy said. And guess what? One of those games is about stealing jewels from a royal tower. That means it's possible that whoever robbed your museum is after the upcoming crown jewel exhibit. Tell you what, Oskar said. I will open up the museum. I will show you around. You will be convinced that everything is safe. You mean the jewels are in a safe? Nancy asked. We don't have security guards, Oskar said. And please, enter through the main entrance. Nobody watches the back entrance. Nancy nodded, then realized Oskar couldn't see her. I just nodded, she said, and then she hung up. She finished her coffee, then stomped across the courtyard to the museum. She noticed an eye-catching signboard right next to the museum's entrance. Hey, Oskar, she said. What's up with the haunted tour sign? That is one of our most popular attractions, Oskar said. We turn on a fog machine and let guests wander the museum. Who runs it? Nancy asked. No one, Oskar said. No one? Nancy asked. It's a fully automated tour, Oskar said. So you're telling me that every single night you open the doors to the museum so anyone could waltz in and steal whatever they want without being caught? As I explained, we have some very nice velvet ropes, Oskar said. Although we put them away during the haunted tour so guests don't accidentally trip over them, it can be hard to see them in the fog. Nancy thought about it for a few minutes. Fog is hard to see through, she agreed. I can see this museum has the best security ever. Chapter 6. Speaking of museum security, how well do the cameras work? Nancy asked, pointing to a security camera in the corner on the ceiling. It's hard to notice, but it is there in the game. They must be able to zoom in a long way, right? No, actually, those cameras are fake, Oskar said. They don't record anything. If they were good enough to fool me, they must be good enough to fool any potential thieves, Nancy laughed. If they were good enough to fool me, they must be good enough to fool any potential thieves, Nancy laughed. She picked up a cylindrical object lying on a table. What's this weird thing? Some kind of soda container? That is a priceless artifact, which is over 1,000 years old, Oskar corrected her. And you leave it out in the open where tourists can touch it? Nancy asked, spinning the cylinder on her finger. Not very safe. What's inside it? I don't know. It's never been opened, Oskar said. I bet I can open it, Nancy said. She lifted the cylinder above her head, then prepared to smash it against the ground. Do not harm the artifact, Oskar begged. I would never harm it. I was just, stretching my arms, Nancy said. Look at the top of this thing. That's clearly some kind of puzzle. There was a movable piece that Nancy could drag along 2 different tracks. There was also a sun that could be flipped from the left side to the right side. Yes, but no one has been able to solve it, Oskar said. My guess is that it blends Kepler's 3 laws of planetary motion with the limited astronomical knowledge of the time period in which it was made. The C at the bottom is clearly a reference to Caspar Lemon, the famed glassmaker who lived during the time of King Rudolph the... Got it, Nancy said, popping off the lid to the canister. What? Who? How did you do that so quickly? Oskar yelled. I told you I'm a genius detective who's great at solving puzzles, Nancy said. But don't tell anyone I'm a detective. I'm trying to keep it a secret, you know. The truth was, Nancy was just playing with the lid at random when it opened up. She couldn't resist spinning the planet piece around in a big circle. Nancy was just about to start spinning in a circle until she got dizzy when Oskar interrupted. Wait, it's not opened fully, he said. There's a second part to the puzzle. It looks like you need to find 4 specific symbols. There's a part 2? Nancy complained. No!